Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, Jennie Bellinger, your direct sales dom, helping you whip your business into shape. Today, I have with me actually one of my friends, a business associate that I have known, I think probably for like 3 or 4 years now, right?
I think maybe longer. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, it's been a while. So I started working with Jeff Hasty actually myself when I happened to be on, well, here's how we met. So I'm going to share this. We met because of a Facebook post. A friend of mine was commenting about how she was having trouble with something. I think it was migraines. And Jeff Hasty, who is my guest today, commented that he could help her out. And I was like, really? How can he help her? And so I started messaging him. We started chatting. And then next thing I know, I'm inviting him to my BNI chapter, and we were BNI members together. And so I have referred clients his way to help out because what Jeff does is absolutely fascinating. And it's effective because I've actually done it myself. And this is not a whole sales pitch. What I am wanting to do is let you guys know this is an option that's out there for people. So what Jeff Hasty does, Jeff Hasty is the founder of Life Enhancement Hypnosis, and he helps business owners and also people who are not business owners help get past some obstacles in their life that may be holding them back in different areas. So just going through, and in my case, he helped me get through a very painful surgery and without having to get on like all the drugs. So Jeff, thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Jeff, why don't you share the story of how you got started in hypnosis?
All right. That goes back a ways. I was in California at the time. I went to a state fair and I saw a stage hypnotist performing and stopped. I'd never seen one before, a stage show, and watched it, enjoyed it, laughed my butt off, thought it was absolutely hysterical, but left it feeling this had to be staged, rigged kind of thing. But it was so entertaining. That hypnotist was doing an adult version of his show. So I bought tickets and went to that and absolutely amazed, but I definitely left that going, this was staged. It has to be rigged. Next year, I went back to the Sacramento State Fair, different hypnotist doing a stage show. And this time there were 2 girls, teenage girls sitting in front of me, and one of them was selected to go up on stage. So she went up there, performed, did all the stuff, came back down and sat down with her friend. And I was kind of eavesdropping in the conversation when she came back. And the friend that was on stage legitimately could not believe that she was up there and that she had done the stuff that she had done. So I'm like, well, maybe there's more to this than what I think there is. So me being something intrigues me, I have to dig into it, So I started doing a bunch of research into hypnosis, actually befriended a guy that was a retiring hypnotist, took me under his wing, started teaching me how to do it, what the therapeutic benefits of it and everything were, and just kind of really turned my perspective of things around, got certified in it, and just been helping people off and on since.
Very good. And so as you've been doing this for 15 years now, I think it says here in your bio, doing this in 15 years, you've helped a lot of people in a lot of different ways. What are some of the most interesting ways that you feel comfortable sharing that you've helped people using hypnosis?
My big thing I really enjoy is pain management. That it's, to personal levels with some of my family going through cancer treatments and different things that had I been certified and been aware of what hypnosis could have done at the time, I probably could have helped them, get through some of the struggles they were dealing with. So I do love the pain management side, but I do a lot of smoking cessation, weight loss, anxiety, Sports enhancement is always fun. You name it. It's just really what you can put your mind to. Hypnosis can help with, from, I don't know, gamuts, thousands of different things. So
that is so awesome. So Jeff, I want to share with everybody the story that my experience with you, which was I was getting ready to go through a surgery. And so I found out that you could help with pain management. So I said, okay, I want to do this. And so I went in, had a session with you beforehand where first of all, this was the most calm I have ever been going into a surgery because of the session that we had, because what you did during that first session was help tell my brain to not be anxious during the pre-surgery stuff. So I went into the surgery just already pretty chill. I mean, of course, there was always those little bits of like, I want this to go well, but it wasn't like, nail biting, leg jiggling, lip biting, all the things that people do when they're nervous. I really went into it totally chill. So number one, that was a huge help because it was a surgery that I knew was coming up. Obviously it wasn't, some emergency surgery, but what was also really cool is you were able to help put some anchors in, because what you explained to me is when you're in a lot of pain, it can sometimes be hard to get somebody into that suggestive state to be able to help get the pain to go away. So you were able to do that. So I remember when I called you and said, okay, I'm in a lot of pain, come on over. You were in my door and out of my house, I think in 10 minutes.
It was probably 30, but it was pretty quick.
It felt like 10. Okay, we'll put it that way. It felt like 10 because I remember we went into my office my home office. You were able to put me back under, and the pain because of course the whole time, for those who have never been through hypnosis, I want to ease your mind because Jeff has hypnotized me multiple times, and I've always known what was going on. I was always aware of what was going on, and I'll let you explain that in just a minute. But what was really cool was I literally went from feeling the pain of the surgery to not feeling the pain that quickly. That's what I remember from that situation. I could still feel the pressure because the issue was from the fact that it was a laparoscopic surgery. So anybody who's listening right now who's had a laparoscopic surgery knows that air bubble thing that happens up under your collarbone that is so freaking painful. It's almost worse than the surgical scars because there's nothing you can do about it. Like taking medicine doesn't help, whatever. And so that's why I was like, I knew I needed you to come over and do that. And so I went from feeling the pain to not feel. I could still feel the pressure, but it didn't hurt anymore, which was amazing. And I remember my mom at one point saying, well, that the pain does eventually go away. And I was like, Mom, not instantaneously. That's what happened. So, that's okay. If people don't want to believe it, that's fine. It was my experience. All I know is it worked for me. And that was super beneficial. I absolutely loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So, I know that there's a lot of people who probably ask you about the whole, well, can you make me do things I don't want to do? How does that, let's alleviate some of those questions or get some of those out of the way so people can better understand hypnosis if they're a little scared by it.
So a lot of people think hypnosis is a form of mind control, that I can put you under and tell you to do whatever I want you to do, and you're just going to do it. A lot of that comes from stage shows. I have clients come in. So you're going to make me cluck like a chicken, only if you want me to make you cluck like a chicken, but,
right.
So really the way hypnosis works is your mind is only going to absorb what it wants to absorb. So if I bring you into my office or you come in and we're doing pain management or anxiety or whatever, and I try to slip in, hey, after this, I want you to go down the street and rob the bank and bring me back the money. Well, if that really worked, I'd be in Tahiti right now drinking Mai Tais, it just doesn't work, If that's not what you're there for, your subconscious mind, which is what we're speaking to, is just going to reject that suggestion and move on to whatever. And like you experienced with hypnosis, you're very aware of everything that's going on. A lot of people think, well, I'm asleep because it appears that you're asleep, but you're really hyper aware. So it's like taking the filter off of like your air conditioner, down, pulling the filter off. Well, once that filter's gone, you got all this influx of information and stuff that's could be overwhelming, really. And it allows that subconscious to just process it. And it's just like all this information coming to you at once. So you're really hyper aware and taking in a bunch of information at one time. So,
yeah, it's really interesting because I remember, as much as I can now that it's been, let's see, we're recording this in November of 2021 and my surgery was in the summer of 2017. So it's been 4 years. So, 4 years later, I can still remember how you got me into that suggestive state, super relaxed, calm down. I don't remember the trigger, but I'm sure if you did it to me now, it would probably still work. Right. But it just was also the whole experience was also extremely relaxing because then I remember when I, came out of it, or I don't know what your specific phrase for that would be, woke up, even though you're not really asleep, but I don't know how else to explain, when you're back out of the suggestive state, it felt like I had a nice little nap, even though I was awake the whole time, very refreshed, chill, out of pain. Literally the day after surgery, the day after surgery, out of pain. It was fantastic, guys. And so, I have sent other clients to you and friends to you since for various pain management things, migraines, issues with other areas of their life, which I think is really interesting because the reason, without giving anybody away, one of the people that I sent to you was someone who was having a personal issue that was affecting her belief in herself and her alignment with her business. And so now I was able to send her to you to work on that personal thing that I don't have a way to help her with, but I've got you. You're my resource in helping with that. And so with people who are listening right now, if they're having issues with mindsets around sales or maybe some personal issues, what are some of the ways that you have maybe helped people in a business sense or something that is adjacent to business? Like I said, for this particular client who I sent to you for the one thing, what are some of the interesting ways that you've helped people there?
With some of my experience with direct marketing, I'd say the biggest issues people face is that feeling of, I don't want to approach people because of rejection. I don't want to be told no. And so there's an anxiety around making that approach and discussing, even though you might be selling a great product or whatever, and you're well educated in it and you're confident in it. It's just that feeling that you're going to get rejected by making that approach. And so a lot of what you can do with hypnosis is build that confidence. And, being told no is not a bad thing, know. So, just understanding that even though if there is rejection that comes from it, that it's not personal, it's not a negative thing. That person is just not ready to accept what you're trying to throw out there. So move on to the next and don't let that affect your confidence. So that's the biggest thing, is just confidence building and being able to overcome those hurdles of anxiety that typically that I have seen around, direct sales and direct marketing.
Good. Because that's something that I think a lot of people in entrepreneurship in general probably struggle with, because people, number one, either don't want that rejection, like you said, or they are just so focused on the outcome rather than really focusing on the other person and the process and letting that flow and go naturally, that they don't even start the whole thing. So by working with someone like you to help them get through that and really work on that confidence piece, because I do have to say, the more confident I've gotten, the better I get, the more confident, like it's this wonderful, good version of a catch-22, right? You get more confident, so you do it more and you do it better. And then you get more confident and you do it more. And, it just is this wonderful self-perpetuating cycle. Right. So if someone were interested in wanting to have a conversation with you, how could they reach out to you and begin that conversation?
The easiest way is probably off my Facebook page of Life Enhancement Hypnosis. You can shoot me a message there.
Sure.
Easiest way to get in touch with me most of the time.
And can you work with people long distance? Because literally my podcast listeners, I'm not even kidding you, Jeff. I'm in 10 different countries so far. So most of them are English speaking countries, but I'm assuming people can work with you no matter where they are in the world, right? Yeah,
absolutely. We can do hypnosis via, Zoom meetings, web. That's not a problem at all. Even if it's not me, hypnosis has been such a positive effect in my life and, other people's lives that I've worked around and helped that, even if it's not me, just to open your mind up to it, understand, really what it is. There's like hypnosis now, I guess in the United States, I know in Europe, it's much more popular there than it is here. It's probably where chiropractics was 20 years ago. Now chiropractics is very mainstream in the US now. And so I think hypnosis is starting to develop that, bring that pattern in. There's a lot of big universities studying hypnosis and doing tests and stuff on it to see the scientific validity behind it. So it's starting to get a little more traction over here. So
good, as it should. For those any of my listeners who've been listening to me for a while know that my background, my degree is in psychology. And so, I was literally learning about hypnosis and the power of hypnosis. Like 20 years ago when I was going to college.
10 years ago, Jenny.
10 years. Yeah, you're so sweet. No, it was straight up almost 25 years ago since I've been in school. And I remember getting to learn about the power of hypnosis and the actual psychology of how it works and why it works and, all of that kind of stuff. I just, never underwent the process back then. I don't know why. I didn't pursue that any further. It was just like something fascinated me. I wanted to know, and how could this be true? And okay, there's an explanation for why this works and how the brain works and, how that all works. So even 25 years ago when I was in school, the information was there. It's just a matter of getting people who, of course, there are people who do not use hypnosis in the way that it could be and should be used, or maybe a little more manipulative with it, unfortunately. But I do have to say, for those who are listening, I trust Jeff implicitly because obviously he's been my hypnotist. So, he's someone that I feel very comfortable putting out there, because I think if you're someone who struggles with the sales or the sponsoring piece and the mindset behind it, whether it's the fear, the anxiety, the confidence level, maybe you're someone who's like, man, if I could just fix my finances, and get a better money mindset, feel more comfortable, confident around money, have the conversation with Jeff and see if this consultation, it's a free consultation for the first conversation. Find out if it's something that he can help with you, because I think it would be absolutely life-changing to help build your business. And that's what this podcast is all about, is helping people find the tools, resources, and human beings like Jeff that will be a benefit to you guys who offer things that I can't possibly help with. So Jeff, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here to share what you do and how you can help people. I really appreciate you.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so my badass crew, if you guys want to reach out to Jeff, like he said, the best way to get a hold of him is through his Facebook page, Life Enhancement Hypnosis. The link is in the show notes. So if this is your first time listening to the show, make sure you just grab your phone, as long as you're not driving, click on the episode, scroll up just a little bit, and you'll see all the show notes right there under the picture for today's show. And you will be able to grab Jeff's link to directly to his Facebook page. So that way you can go connect with him, like the page, send him a message if you would like to learn more and take him up on this free consultation. I highly recommend that you do so if you're someone who's looking for a way to get over that hump, get past that obstacle that's holding you back in your business. And then from there, let me see how I can help you, right? Of course, because once you got that confidence, let me get in there and help you, hold you accountable to get you through and get things done. So again, Jeff, thank you very much. I so appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me again.
I know. And now stay tuned for another badass episode.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.